Today, I'm talking to Ari Afshar with Compass Los Angeles. Doing over $130 million in transactions a year, Ari runs a large, successful team. A master of real estate and systems, a little over 10 years ago, in 2008, Ari founded Lexington Realty and became one of 8 real estate agents nationwide selected for Bank of America's Realtor Roundtable. As a member of this exclusive group, he helped Bank of America shape their short sale systems and processes. In 2011, Ari merged with Lexington Realty with the Caldwell Banker Beverly Hills North office. Building on his talents in systems and technology from 2011 to 2014, Ari launched and ran social media marketing, real estate web development, and mobile app building companies. In 2014, it was time to bring his passions together where he would best thrive. That's where he began conversations with Compass. He combined his passions for real estate and technology and became the founding agent for Compass Los Angeles. Once established with Compass, he quickly built what is now a large, strong team. We talk about mindset, lessons learned in business, and how he built a big and strong team fast. Thanks for listening to the Jere Metcalf Podcast, where top real estate agents tell how they do it. This podcast was created for real estate agents across the country to come together, sharing ideas to take your, their, and our business to the next level. All right, everybody, it's the Jere Metcalf Podcast, where top real estate agents tell how they do it. And today we have Ari Afshar in LA with Compass. Ari, welcome to the show.
Jere, thank you for having me on. I'm excited to do this, and I know that it has been a few tries where we've tried to align schedules just to make this happen. So I'm glad
it's a good problem.
Yeah, it is. It is. Both busy.
Glad you're finally here. Glad we're finally together. Tell us a little bit about everybody. First of all, Ari was the first agent on the West Coast, where we're talking about, you're in a market where I think there's 40% market share now with Compass.
Yeah, it's a crazy, I don't know what it is exactly, but it's certainly a very, very large number, and it's continuing to grow rapidly. So,
and Ari was the first agent to sign, and here we are. How many years later?
It's over 4 years.
Wow, and that was back in 2000.
November 4th, 2015, we officially launched. And I will never forget the day. I was actually just texting with Rob Refkin the other day about it. And yeah, I've got the video. It was like 8 of us in a room together, not knowing where things were going to lead, but we were all committed. And it's a crazy story. It's one that I actually believed was going to happen, but I just don't think that anybody could have anticipated how rapidly we would be able to get to where we are right now. And in LA, I'd say Compass is the company that people are talking most about. And so it's been quite phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, and that'll come back into play, I know, how did you get into real estate? What led up to it? And how did you get where you are now? And I would love to dig into your team. Let's start with where you are now. What do you look like now? And then let's give your story.
Sure. So we are a 20-person team now. We have about 15 agents, 4 staff, and myself. The team is just agents from various parts of Los Angeles. So we do genuinely cover all over LA. And it's a vast territory, but we've got experts that essentially are hyper-local to each market. I grew up in Beverly Hills. I know the areas surrounding it very well. And I feel like the areas that I don't know well, I needed to align myself with the best people who could ultimately help us as a team grow. And so that's what we've done. And then from a staff, we have an operations manager. We have a sales director who is responsible for covering, the agents and just making sure that they are getting what they need and performing to their own standards as well as to ours. We've got a marketing person in-house, and we also have just a regular admin who kind of works on all of the littles that helps make it all flow pretty well.
Wow. So operating manager, sales manager, marketing in-house, and admin. So we're going to go revisit that. But
Sure.
before we go dig deep, let's talk about you, because you've only been in business since 2014 and you've already got a very successful team of 20 agents. How did you get into it? And give us your story.
So I got into it out of sheer necessity, if I'm being totally honest. I wasn't the kind of kid who grew up and said, I want to grow up selling property. It's just my dream. I had a company. It was in the tech world, and it failed. And it was a very high fall, and had a wife and kid. I still have a wife and kid, but they were, it was brand new at the time.
Yeah.
2 kids now. But at the time I had a newborn, and
wow.
My tech company had just failed. I went from, it was basically a 200-person operation. And then the next day it went to just me having to figure out how I'm going to provide for my family with no savings, nothing really. And so I went door knocking because I said to myself, I've got a real estate license. What can I do with it? And so I started knocking on doors in Beverly Hills. And I got every single response that you would expect by knocking on doors in Beverly Hills, which are, get off my property, to, aren't you embarrassed, to, Ari, is that you? I went to high school with you. I mean, you can only imagine how demoralizing it felt for me.
Yeah.
But when you don't have a choice, you just got to keep doing it, right? Because I couldn't think of any better way to provide, at that exact moment. So I did that. We got some success. I got some success early on, and I was able to, through that time, hire an assistant to essentially help with all of a sudden, oh, wow, there's a seller who's interested in maybe having a conversation in a few months, to, oh, I got referred a buyer. And business began to become busy pretty quickly. And so, yeah.
Yeah, keep going.
No,
Tell
so
us about the knocking on doors thing. You got to back up, because you've got people, I mean, you've got people telling, like, aren't you embarrassed? Like, is that you? Or there's just that whole demoralizing scenario. So what kept you going, and how long did it take, and how did it become successful to do that?
Yeah. So what kept me going was the fact that I didn't have a choice. And I think that, it's really important in my mind to always put yourself in a position, whether you have a choice or not, to be in the mind frame of, I don't have a choice. There is no other option. I have burned my bridges, and I've got to continue to move forward. And, there's great books like Think and Grow Rich, or Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, or whatever it may be. But in all of these little learnings, there's a common denominator, and it's that you've got to just keep plowing through no matter what.
Yeah.
In good times and in bad. In good times, you do it to build momentum. In bad times, you do it because you just got to get by. And so for me, it just came down to, you've just got to endure, and you've got to go through it and have the fortitude. And so for me, I just went through. Now, how did I deal with the responses of, aren't you embarrassed, or get off my lawn, or whatever it may be? Yeah, it was humiliating, especially in a town that I grew up in. And I'm not trying to create this like woe is me story, but it really was a pretty dark time. And you just have to put a smile on and suit up and show up every day. And then that led to, I got a listing on a premier block in Beverly Hills.
Wow. From knocking on doors.
From knocking on doors.
How many knocks did it take?
Unfortunately I wasn't tracking it at that time, but if I'm being honest, I think it was about 20. And then that led to, and I don't want to get anyone over credit over here. No, it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I do that today if those were the metrics to kind of build by. But that property ended up being a corner lot property on one of the premier locations in all of Beverly Hills. And that led to, of course, open houses, to buyers, to marketing opportunities, to talk about that listing, to selling the property, to, so on and so forth. And then obviously that's when I decided to kind of build my team up. And I just came from that world. I had a large team before, and it was easy for me to kind of reignite those same processes and ultimately translate it over to real estate.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about going back, and I don't want to miss anything about your story. So you literally just did a fast forward start by knocking on doors.
Yep.
Because eventually somebody, I'll tell you, I'm not a big door knocker. And as a woman, I think I feel a little bit more vulnerable. But I'll never forget one day somebody knocked on our door, even though I'm a real estate agent. And my husband was like, like, I'd probably hire that guy if we were going to sell our house, because he's willing to do that. Like, he's going to work hard. I was like, yeah, even though that's not, I'm still like, but but it's just interesting. It's like, find what you can do, how you can do it. What's your goal? How fast do you have to get there? And just go through it and just do it.
That's exactly what it is. And I think that for me, I get the thrill of actually, you suffer and you face humiliation and you have to deal with, the highs and the lows. But at the end of the day, I love connecting with people. And so, sometimes you just have to play the part. And depending on the personality of who you're kind of talking to, you've got to just find the right path to have dialogue with them. And whether that's by cold calling, which I also actually love to do. I find that
you love to cold call. Like, this interview is getting worse and worse.
No, I'm telling you, it's great. It's great. I would love to just spend days cold calling because.
Are you serious?
Well, you can hide behind the phone. You can actually kind of create a character and create a story, and they're not going to have to sit and talk to you. And I find that fascinating. It's to me, you just got to find the one thing that you're really good at. It doesn't have to be 2 or 3. It's just the one that you can commit to doing. And that's the same thing that I tell my agents. You don't have to go out door knocking. You don't have to go out cold calling. But if you're going to be sending mailers, be consistent with sending your mailers. Or if you're going to be being a networker, be the best at what you do and own it. Own it no matter what.
So Ari, what's your thing?
Well, now I'm kind of leaning more into my network. Now I'm really kind of following up the people that I'm currently already doing business with, and just making sure that we provide such a superior level of service to where they will tell their friends or they will tell family or whoever, so that we can capture that business as well. The point of building a team for me is not about building it to say that we're a large team. It's to create an organization that is so fluid and is so strong that for the same kind of commission percentage, as an example, 2.5% or 3%, we charge you versus what a standalone agent would. We want to say that you're going to be getting so much value from our operation and what we're doing that you would never think to look another way, especially when the costs are virtually the same. So that for me really is kind of where why I want to continue to grow the team and why I want to continue to build the team, so that we can provide a superior level of service. Although I don't know if that was the question you were asking.
It was, because I kind of want to ask about the cold calling too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a question about the team, but first let's just for a minute touch on this cold calling. Like, especially because everybody does it. I mean, I have more cold calls in a day than I can count. It's horrible. Like, how do you become what makes a good cold caller? What makes you good at it?
You have a window.
Or do you just think it's fun?
Well, both. I really do. But you've got a window. That window is that the minute that somebody says hello or yes or whatever it may be, you have 3 seconds to absolutely capture their attention. And then from there, you've got to let them know that you are here to, I hate saying you're here to provide a service, but you're here to basically, if they understood the position that you were in and why you're doing what you're doing, they would soften up their approach a lot more and they would open up a little bit more. If they thought that their kid had to do this to basically provide a living for their family, I would never hang up on that person.
Yeah.
So even when telemarketers call me now, if they're nice, not only will I talk to them, but I will also let them know that I appreciate them and that I respect them, and to keep doing what they're doing. I really do,
Just don't give them my phone number.
No, I already did. But it's one of those things where, look, we all provide a service. Some people cut hair, some people wash cars, some people do whatever. And it's like, if I went to the guy who just cleaned my car and I was like, yo, jerk, you didn't clean the tires. I mean,
But here's what I want to know. That's fine, but that's just telling me why you're nice to cold callers. Why are you good at cold calling?
well, I think that at the end of the day,
What makes you good at it? And then we're going to talk about the team.
no, fair. So I'm able to get to that place very quickly to where they understand that my intentions are good.
When how do you do that?
Well, you just say, listen, I just want to let you know that I'm only here to be of service, and I wanted to provide you with some information that is directly correlated to your property. And, with this information, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to play that over and over. Like we're going to get a clip and just play it over and over because how do you do a cold call? That's it. You just did it.
Yeah, no, that's it. Because it's like you have to put yourself in the mindset of you're here to be of service in any line of work that you do, right? You are here in this life to be of service to other people. And the vertical of business that we're in right now is that we're here to help people find a home and sell a home. And the home means so much to so many people. So in our line of work, it's our responsibility to be the best representation of these people on both sides of the equation to the best of our abilities. And so in that conversation that I'm having with the seller, it's a matter of me trying to communicate my intent within that short window of time. And by the way, 99 people will tell me to go find another career. And in fact, and I hate sharing this, but I'm going to share it anyway. Early on, I got told by a really prominent local developer. He says, you should stick to selling used cars. I've never sold a used car in my life, but it was one of those things to where, that's enough to go retire and start a jet ski company in the Caribbean or something, and just say, forget this. But that's part of it. It's part of the 99, and then you just get to that one. I mean, that was the mindset.
But you're like a very engaging, funny, you connect. So you find your way.
But you find your way and I find my way, and any agent has to find their way. And that's the point. You're not going to come to me because I'm a Harvard MBA. You know what I mean? Like I can articulate my points in a pretty cohesive way to where they get it. And that's all that it is. And they know that I'm a good person, and that's all that it is.
Well, and you're going to get them what they want. Like in that script, which you weren't really doing as a script, it was about what they needed.
I heard one thing one time, and I know we'll probably move on to the other things because your time is limited too. But
because yours is really limited. And I want to get into this team stuff, but go. Yeah, I want to hear this.
But I heard one thing one time, and I don't remember how old I was, but I heard it and it never left me. And it's that people can hear a smile. People can hear a smile.
True.
Hear a smile on a phone.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, wow, somebody can hear the difference between this. And they can hear the difference between this, and the energy is lighter and it's different. And that is also true for you in person and when you're talking to somebody. And it's true when you're cold calling somebody, and it's true when, your energy is very important. So I think that for me, and that's a whole other conversation about the things that I do to kind of keep that side of my life intact. But yeah, you got to take care of yourself mentally so that you can be prepared for that next opportunity.
Well, that's a big Tony Robbins thing. He's always like, control your state. It's all about your state of mind.
I mean, I don't know about his programs, but I know about what he's about.
Yeah.
And you've got to double up on yourself every day,
So speaking of now yourself, let's talk about your team.
Yep.
And how you set that up, because I say this a lot on the show, but we get more calls about how to structure a team. And you have run a 200-person company in the past, and now you've got a 20-person real estate team, which is huge for a real estate agent. How did that evolve? How does it work? How is it so efficient? And usually it's like you either need to be small or huge in this business, and you're kind of that in between that's working.
Yeah. So I will tell you that I may have stood to benefit by having a great template to play with coming from my previous life, in terms of the org chart, so to speak, and how an operation is supposed to run and what is the ideal setup. I actually will tell you that I don't have the answer, but what I do know is that if I can apply some of the same areas of success that worked in a previous company and apply them to any industry, and you have a level of commitment where you are not going to stop no matter what, you're going to win. You're going to win. And so I took similar aspects of my previous company with the setup of the assistants and the directors of whatever division, and I'm applying that to real estate. And the problem that I have is the vision and the ambition and what I just want for myself in life. And that's what keeps me going and what keeps me up late at night all the time. I mean, I'm firing emails at 2, 3 in the morning, and I wouldn't have it any
ask
other
my
way.
team. They know about that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all of us.
Yeah.
So tell us, the thing that keeps it going is the vision and ambition, but how so your team is structured of 15 agents plus you. And then you've got the operations person, four assistants, operations,
sales, marketing, and admin.
Sales director, marketing, and admin. And admin is someone who's there. What does that mean?
Like sign needs to get set up, photos need to be set up, inspections set up, sometimes sit at, at an inspection or sit at a photo shoot, or order marketing material or get mailers out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with these roles?
I just thought to myself, look, I'm trying to build, for lack of better words, a brokerage within a brokerage. And if I am an agent, what would I feel? If I'm an agent on a team, what would I say to myself is the company that is providing me with everything I can to succeed? Like, what are those things? And so in my mind, I would want a great in-house marketing person. I would want a great support staff to help me with whenever I need something printed or whatever it is, however, large or trivial the task may be. I would want somebody to make sure that the operation is running properly. I would want an agent to go with me on listing appointments if needed. And I would want somebody to help coach me day to day and help me make sure that I'm hitting my goals. And so separate from that, everything else is really like a luxury. But those are the bare necessities that I feel are critical for you to run a proper operation from everyone's perspective. I don't want to, so I can really dive deep into that. Maybe we'll save that for another conversation. Yeah.
Well, I want to run through each role and kind of ask you, but before I do that, should we talk about the agents on your team, or how do they kind of just do their own business and win their own business? Do you feed them business? What's their experience? And let's go back and how these 4 roles support them and you.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of, it's funny. I was watching Jere Metcalf, the movie the other day.
Yes.
And I was thinking to myself, like, I remember many times when I was just starting to try to recruit agents, I was like, that was what I was like. I was like, who's coming with me? Who's coming with me? I was like trying to bring agents on board to believe in this vision, even though I didn't do any business. Right. And so I was trying to get people who just bought into this crazy belief that I had and vision of like what will be. But now, so that's what it started with. And I have to tell you, the best people that I have are the people who were with me from the very beginning. Not that they're not all the best, but like I have a very special place in my heart for those people. Because they were there from the beginning and they saw what the progression looked like. But now when we look for agents, we look at agents who are specific to hyperlocal markets, who are specialists, who are seasoned, and that they have an ability to take a sale from A to Z entirely on their own. And it's a combination in terms of the business. We will feed them business wherever opportunities present themselves, but they are also bringing in their own business, and they're using our brand. And, last year we did about 130 million in sales. So they're now taking that to the listing presentations that they go on. And when they go door knocking, they're able to kind of use that as tools, right, to help them convert. So
seasoned agents, I think a lot of people, there's this mindset of when you build a team, you have not a knock on $1 million real estate agent, because it's highly recommended by many of our guests, but there is kind of this, and maybe I read it wrong, so y'all correct me if I did, but the model, and one of the models I know is you've kind of got the superstar agent and you're just bringing on buyer's agents and just, letting the buyer, feeding them leads. And that it's not necessarily something that is structured around supporting seasoned agents, which I think is more of what you're doing and what I've got going on as well. But how do you attract and retain seasoned agents on your team?
I'd be lying if I said that I've got the secret formula to everything. But what I will tell you is that what I find is when you recruit early on and you understand and there is an expectation around alignment of expectations and who you are and what your expectations are of them, not just in the short term, but in the future as well. I'm very clear with everyone that I'm going to invest in people if I feel like they're going to invest in the company long term. Period. I mean, we don't tolerate ego. We've had situations in the past where people just want to be the name on the sign and they, they want to be the big shot person. And that's not the team that we're building. I shy away from doing a lot of things that probably would stand to benefit our business by being a lot more present, but we're not that kind of a company. We turn away the opportunities of being to be on TV shows because that's just not, it works for some really well and it's great, but that's not what we're about. We're about hardworking, cohesive. Last Friday we celebrated my operations manager's birthday, and we had pizza and cake at the office, and then we treated the women on the team to go and get manicures, and the guys on the team went to go play golf. And it was fun, and it was just a great time and very collaborative. And that's the kind of environment that I want to build and create and be a part of. Because if I was an agent, that's exactly what I would want to be doing. Yeah. So how do you retain talent? Look, you got to be honest with them. And you got to, if at a certain point in time, an agent just feels like they have outgrown your opportunity of what you've created, then that is a reflection on you as a leader to say that you have not been able to provide enough opportunity to make them believe in the future growth. And so that's happened to me in the past. And every time that's happened, I've found that it's happened in moments where I've been so distracted by other things that I haven't been focused on, the individuals. And everything in life happens for a reason. So
I think a lot of these answers are going to come out of what these people do, but a lot of it sounds like is listening and understanding what they need to support them and continue to help them grow towards their goals. But in the beginning, recruiting people who are aligned with your values and what is important to you and how to do real estate. Does that kind of?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And that's exactly right. Everyone's needs are completely different too. People are different. People, old souls, new souls, love different things in life, and it's to each his own. But I think that what we're trying to do is just identify through the interview process, do we have a common denominator amongst these people who we're bringing in that we can rely on in the future? And are we clear enough out the gate about the opportunity that we're going to provide them with? Because we don't want to misrepresent our intentions to them or what we plan on doing, so that there's not a 2-year conversation down the road of, oh, I thought it was going to be something else.
Yeah. So you just said, do we have a common denominator among the agents? What is the common denominator of all the agents on your team?
Good people. You got to be a good person. I know that that's like, oh, well, I'm a good person. I'm a good person. Like, no.
Everybody thinks they're a good person.
Yeah, but I think that look, the one thing that I've really leaned on in life is intuition and my feeling on things. And sometimes I've been wrong, of course, but in other times I knew it. I just never said it, and it ended up biting me. Yeah. And for me, I think that a good person, I've taken chances on people in the past, not just in real estate, but in the past where they may have had a dicey past, right? But I believe that it was a circumstance of their surroundings. And so my goal is to basically provide people with the right surrounding and see, is it a surrounding, is it an environment issue, or is it a person issue? And I don't know. I mean, I kind of, that's another passion of mine.
Well, how does that usually turn out? That's what I want to know.
The emotional side of me is to say that even the 20% of wins that I've had have been rewarding enough for me to want to continue to do it. Because you see a turnaround in somebody's life and it's just like, that's awesome. You just feel great about being able to kind of turn somebody's whole story around. But yeah, it doesn't always work out, and that's okay too. I think that if your business is predicated on getting people like that and succeeding, you gotta hedge yourself a little bit.
Yeah, and look, yeah, well, exactly. I think that answers it. You've got to look at the track record, but that doesn't mean you don't give some people a chance.
Yeah.
Team. So where should marketing, support, operations, sales director, and you? Where do you want to start, and what is the role? Let's take a couple of minutes on each one, because I don't want to rush out of this interview at the end and miss anything good.
Sure.
So how did you sum up? Like, I know you gave us the gist, but I want to really know, like, what is the job description, or how does it really apply to these agents? Give us a little more meat.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of the internal staff, so to speak, sales director, his day-to-day, I mean, we've got Google Sheets, like all up and down. We've got CRM, but he has tabs upon those Google Sheets that are ultimately tracking every individual agent, their prospecting for that week, their targets for that week, their goal
And
for the
Google
month.
Sheets?
Yeah, I'll show you later.
What about like Contactually pipeline or something?
Yeah, I've gone through those, and it doesn't kind of provide the information in the exact way that I want. So I'm actually working
Not
on.
even the pipeline? Did you try the pipeline?
Yeah, I tried. Pipeline was actually the first CRM that I tried.
No,
Yeah.
the pipeline in Contactually is like 2 upgrades into Contactually. Anyway, this is.
Oh, I don't. Well, I think Compass just bought Contactually, right?
But we don't have the pipeline on not yet.
All right.
No,
Yeah.
the Compass CRM. When I see you in San Diego, I'll show you what I'm talking about. But back to you.
Yeah. Sorry.
Because that's a lot to track in a Google spreadsheet.
It is, and it kind of drives them crazy. But at the end of the day, until we have an absolutely perfect machine, it's just part of what we have to do. And I'm going to look into that other one. But I think that the goal is for me to be able to get reports on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on exactly how performance is. And we need to make sure that we're helping the agents who are underperforming. What is the reason? Is it because we've given them leads and those leads were bad? Is it because the leads that we've given them, they just haven't been able to convert? Is it because they've gone out prospecting and they have had a bad streak? Or is it because they're just not providing any initiative at all? So
when you track on these reports, what do they track? Do they track their activities, their results?
Yeah.
What activities and what results?
I mean, it's down to how many social media posts are you posting? It's a bit of micromanaging. I'm just putting my charger in so my computer doesn't die, but it's a bit of micromanaging, and depending on the personality of the agent, we can scale that up or scale it down however much they want. If they're the kind of agent who says, listen, you don't need to check in with me as much, cool, go do your thing. But we've got a minimum per agent per year, which translates down to a minimum per agent per month. And that minimum is 15 million per year per agent, which translates to 1.25 million per agent per month. And they can do that by sitting at a park and, playing bridge and handing out cards while people are walking by, or they can do that by going to networking or cold calling or door knock. I don't care, but just get it done. Otherwise we're going to have to kind of stay on you to make sure, because we've got a finite number of seats on the bench for our team, on the bus, however you want to phrase it. Right. And you have to kind of carry your own.
So share with us, and then we that's the sales director's job. But so you've got like social media posts, open houses, calls, cold calls.
Yeah. Like leads that they've gotten for the week. Last time that they contacted.
Contracts on.
Yeah. Escrows, offers written, forecasted revenue.
Will you share this sheet with me?
Yeah,
I want this for my team.
I will. Yeah.
Seriously.
I'll share everything with you.
Okay. That's awesome. So number one, so the sales director is basically just And the sales director, does the sales director have meetings with these guys and
Oh
like
yeah, he's got
one-on-one, like a
one-on-one.
coach?
That's right. It's an in-house sales coach. It's an
Okay.
in-house sales coach.
Love it. Okay, so you've got that, and then you've got, what do we talk about next? Marketing, support, or operations?
Yeah, so operations manager, within the organization, I'm like drawing this out as I'm talking to you, but within the organization, we have, you got marketing, you have admin, you have sales, you have ancillary items, you've got the P&Ls, right? Like are we profitable this month or are we not?
Mm-hmm.
And so are we going to be profitable next month based off of the business that we currently have coming in, offers written, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a business to manage. It's a business to stay on top of, because right now my goal for me, at least for this year, is to be a great agent to where I'm able to service all of my clients as they come to me, so that I don't have to be distracted with the day-to-day of the operation.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get a quick snapshot on the, operation as a whole by just going into one of these docs and seeing how are we going to be performing this quarter over last quarter, last year, or over Q1 of 2019 versus 2018. What is our growth as a percentage year over year? And are we headed in the right direction?
So the operations manager, it sounds like they're doing a lot of spreadsheets, but they're also making sure everybody's like the checklist for the listings and like, how are you doing this? Is it like everybody knows what their job is and they're executing on it and they're holding them accountable and support, or?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I think that the expectations have been set, the templates have been created, so they're just entering information as it comes in, or, if something else is needed, then they kind of bring it up. But at the end of the day, it's a formula that's worked for 30, 40, 50, 100 years in this business, and we're just kind of staying organized.
So operations manager, they're the ones that meet with the marketing, the support staff, and the sales director and you, probably, just to say, hey, here's what we're doing.
Yeah, here's the
making sure that making sure the spreadsheets are, is it making sure like when you get a listing, everything gets executed on time, that kind of a thing? Or
and also that transactions, if a deal's going on in escrow, who do we need to queue in to make sure that things get smoothed over?
Okay.
Just looking at the status and the health of the operation as a whole, going into every single department, making sure that they are fully optimized. And that way I'm not going to have these one-on-ones with a marketing lead or the sales director or the admin on the team who's critical to our operation. But, did photos get taken, the other day?
Yeah.
It becomes a pretty cumbersome kind of task.
Yes, it does. Because that's what I'm doing right now. So how do you know what kind of person is the best for the operations job? What's their background when they're good at it? I like this.
Well, it's a great, so I think that convention will tell you one thing, but my belief is that it's always best to kind of hire from within, and to promote from within. And so my current operations manager actually started as my assistant. But because she's been with me now for over 3 years, she now understands how we've gotten to where we are. So I can't think of a person who's better for the role than her, because she knows the business as well as I do. But I think ideally you just want to find somebody who's aligned with what your expectations are for you on a daily basis. And, I've got a certain order of how I like to have things done. And they get that.
I think it's understanding how it grew, understanding the why, like, this is why you're doing something this way. I know I find sometimes when I'm growing a team, they're like, well, we don't need to do it that way. Like, what does it matter? Right. But there's a why in history and, the repercussions of not doing it a certain way, that, that for what our values are and what we deliver our client, this is the way, this is the action steps that best reap those results. Yeah.
And it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
There's no, Gary Keller wrote a couple books on it. The one thing is another one of his books. And I think
that's a good one.
Yeah. Everyone's got their different perspective on how to handle, there's no right or wrong. If it works for you, it works, and do it. Everyone's got their own path and their own angle on how to become successful. But for me, I'm just, I I'm just freakishly obsessed with not stopping and being overly organized and making sure that systems are in place. And, I can live in that world, or I can live in the world of growing the company. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I wish I could kind of replicate myself and have that, but I've got great people who get me and they understand me, and they, they're leaders in their own right.
That's awesome. So we went over sales director operations. We've got marketing and support staff, and the support for staff or support staff. Marketing? Should we do that one?
Yeah. So marketing is a bit of a hybrid approach for now, but I think ultimately what I'm going to be looking for is an architect of all of my marketing. So somebody who is able to say, here are the different aspects of marketing that we can run, from mailers to social to, display ads to whatever it may be. Here's our cost associated with every single initiative. Here's the ROI on every initiative. I'm finding that, in the spring of 2017, we saw a drastic uptick in conversion in social. Let's commit more in social, because I noticed the same trend in 2018 in the spring. Clearly there's a trend over there. We should invest more money into doing that, versus in mailers where we've spent $10,000 per month, let's just call it, and yet we've only gotten a 2% conversion on whatever it may be. Here's what we should be doing, and then send it to me for approval. I give the go ahead. They then send that information off to the respective teams who are responsible for creating the collateral and the creative. And then, like a machine, things just kind of get pushed out.
So the marketing person does the strategy, the plan. They look at the track record and what things in the past have reaped to come up with the strategy and plan moving forward. And then do they create the concept and someone else makes it tangible?
Yeah. So we've outsourced some of our marketing material in the past just for the sake of velocity. But I think ultimately, and not to, plug Compass too much over here, but, they've got the marketing center.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much, you click a couple buttons and you need mailers sent out. Cool. Drag and drop and send.
Yeah.
But ultimately it's kind of somebody who is the quarterback of every single position within their respective lanes. And what does that mean to own your position and to own that world? Is you're the director of marketing. You're going to have people that come up with the graphic design work. You're going to have people who come up with the content work, whatever it may be, but you own the entire department.
Yeah.
Like any large company, really, what I would imagine view their heads of their departments. I'm kind of looking at it in the same way.
Yeah.
If deadlines didn't get met, then it falls on the head of whoever is responsible for that particular area of the company.
So every team member has, this is my priority, and these are the deadlines that I'm accountable to.
Yeah.
Do they know how to do one another's jobs if somebody checks out or gets sick, or how do you handle that?
With the exception of marketing, yes. I mean, for some aspects of marketing. I mean, I think, it's not complicated to order flyers or whatever, prints.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, running
operations is the one who just makes sure somebody does it. That's the nice thing about operations, about that role. So you said you've got an admin or support staff person. How does that, so that's basically, and the operations person probably oversees them on when signs go out, when get flyers out, maybe they help assist for showing listings as needed and things like that, or do they not go there?
I try to lean away from that, but if it's absolutely necessary, then they'll show up.
What about open houses? Who does those?
No, we do. I mean, I sit as open houses if I can, or agents on our team will do.
Okay.
My sales director will sit at them as well. He actually was with me at an open house yesterday.
And that's the perfect person to do it. So, and when the leads come in, the sales director oversees those and feeds those out depending on production and how quickly their availability and all that stuff.
Correct.
Okay. This is awesome. Okay. And then the last one is you. So what's your role on the team? Are you just another agent on the team, or?
If I look at, to put it into simple terms, the operations manager, COO, sales director, head of sales, you need a CEO to constantly guide the company and to build and move the company forward and have the vision and like know why you're doing what you're doing and where you're going. And part of that right now for me is that's half of me is the vision side. And the other side is yeah, I've got to be an agent. I have to be, you know, the agent that is still doing the deals, that is still very active with his clients, that is focused on his clients, and that his clients know that I'm not distracted by the operation side because that's being handled by all the best people.
Awesome. So any tips on with 20, you've already explained it, but here's what I'm going to say.
Yep.
With 15 agents and your own clients and 4 people that you've hired to oversee everything, there's a lot that can go wrong. What's the secret to making sure it doesn't?
2 a.m. text messages and emails, over communicating things, and just being overly clear on what are our targets and what are we shooting to achieve this week, and then constantly reviewing that throughout the week, and as new things come up, adding that to the total list, and just staying on top of it. You know, I think that it comes down to the people, really, because you can talk goals all you want, you can talk about objectives and you know, flash reports and whatever you want to kind of label it as, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the people who are capable of actually executing, you're going to be stuck with a big business, and you know, you're going to have to deal with it all yourself. So I think that I invest heavily in the people. They invest heavily in the operation, and we've got a good company. It's a little company, but it's good.
So I had another question. I forgot what it was, but it was more about the people. How do you know when you have the right people? And then I have my final 3 for you.
Yeah, so I got it. That is a great question. And especially when you first onboard someone, there's the honeymoon phase. You know, it's like, all right, you know, you do your thing. I'm going to kind of let you handle things in the way that you normally would. You clearly know what we've got to achieve. And then ultimately it just comes down to spending enough time with someone, and get it. I don't know about you, but you sound like the kind of person, and you've seemed in all of our interactions, like you get somebody, you know, you understand who they are without really doing a deep dive. I feel like I have that ability as well. I give leeway wherever I can and wherever I have to, but at the end of the day, if you're a good person, if you're committed to the vision, and you know, you just are willing to commit yourself to the operation, I will keep investing in you.
And I love what you said about hiring from within. I think that speaks a lot to, sometimes it's easy to go outside the company as if the problem's out. I mean, not the problem, the solution's out there. Usually the solution's already with you. And the people within your company, as long as you tell me, but I think if they're the right people and they align with your vision, do you find that's where a lot of your answer is and where they learn and grow with you?
For the most part, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I think that if wherever you can do it that way, I think that where it can get tricky is where you take chances on people at the expense of the business, especially at a business that's in a very fragile state and you're still trying to grow, and 2 misses may actually really put you in a bad position as a company as a whole. So I think do it responsibly. You know, don't do it because you've got a warm and fuzzy heart. Do it because you really believe in this person and you really want to give this a fair opportunity to try and not just see them grow, but help the company grow too. And if you can't find that from within, that's perfectly fine. Then that's when you go and look outside. And for me, you know, we've done that on several occasions in the past, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
It's great advice.
Just got to keep rolling the dice.
I've got the final 3 questions for you.
Yes.
Number 1, what have you found is the most powerful tool in your business and running your team? It could be your Google Sheets or a CRM or a book, not a book, because that's the next question. Or an event you've held or a way of doing business. I mean, like anything.
Most powerful tool that has gotten us to where we are. I honestly, this is cheesy as you know what, but it's the quality of people. Yeah, it really is. It's the quality of people that, that we have that have just, you can't buy that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a technology. It's not some SaaS software. It's not an event. It's the quality of people that have stuck with us that has allowed us to get to where we are. It's not,
So
yeah.
a quote comes to mind when you say that I don't remember where I saw it. It was in the last couple of weeks, but it really resonated. It said, a great leader doesn't show their team how great they are. It shows their team how great they are.
Yeah.
So you've got quality people, but you said investing in people, quality people. But I think, that resonated for me. How does that resonate for you?
Oh, I mean, to me, it's the most important thing. I can look at the end of the day, I think that I could be just as happy doing a different line of work as long as I was surrounded with good people,
Yeah.
I would love to say that the number one tool has been, I invest heavily in sending out mailers 3 times a week and it's just
Right.
great. But the reality is like, even if you do that and you've got horrible people that are cannibalizing your business internally,
Then it's just expensive.
it's just added expenses to a business that will never succeed. So I put the team and investing in the team and just letting them know. I mean, I tell them from time to time, they may get weirded up. And I'm like, I love you guys. I love you. They're like,
oh, we have nicknames and everything. You don't even want to
yeah.
know. I mean, we all, my favorite nickname on the team, and I'm not going to say who it is, but this person, we all know who it is on the team, but Butterfly.
Wow. Is that a man?
Because the butterfly is a caterpillar first, and then they rise to the top.
Yeah.
And you don't really see them coming. That's our butterfly.
Although the butterflies have, it's another cover story.
No.
Yeah. It's another cover
We've got Butterfly, we've got Coco, we've got Lowo.
I've got an agent on my team. I just gave him the nickname Hawk because he's like Hawk, and he goes in for, I've got a hacksaw, chainsaw.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but
I love it.
Yeah, but we're definitely we're a fun team. It's a little bit like
that's
Top
awesome.
Gun.
All right, next question. What's one book we have to read if you're going to recommend one?
Non-real estate related, I say Siddhartha or The Alchemist.
Oh, very philosophical.
Yeah.
Kind of Buddhist. Is it? That's like, I haven't
read
it.
No, it's just,
it's
about a man, or a woman who's going out in the world and not understanding. I guess one of my favorite quotes of all time is Steve Jobs. You can only connect the dots looking back.
Yes.
I watched that,
yeah.
But I mean, it's like some version of that. And I think that when you go out into the world, you can have a plan. You can, set out to achieve whatever you want, but things happen in their own magical ways for their own reasons. And you don't necessarily always know the reasons why when they happen, but you meet very interesting people along the way. Those people lead to things that you would have never expected. And so it's just about keeping faith and believing that, things are going to work out. You just gotta, your part in all of it is that you really have to see it. You gotta, I'm a big manifester. I'm a big, my friend makes fun of me. He's like, oh, you've got your cute vision board over there. I'm like, I get,
You're doing all right for it. Yeah.
No, but honestly speaking, that's so much of what I've done for myself. I wake up in the morning, I meditate, gratitude list, get the mind right, really see what I want out of life, and I go for it.
So tell us about the meditation. What kind of meditation? Do you have like an app or is it Vipassana, or what is the meditate? There are all kinds. What kind do you do?
Yeah.
I think my sister does. I think it's Vipassana. And she listens to the show, actually. She's one of my biggest fans and biggest critics. So she'll correct me later. But what kind of meditation?
I just do quiet the mind, visualize your day. If you have the ability to, and sometimes I've got my, little kid coming in the room and slapping me in the face while I'm like mid meditation. But if you're able to set aside enough time to where you can think about your day and you visualize the interactions with the people that you're going to have during the day, how's the meeting going to go? What are they going to be saying? How's my response to what they're going to be saying going? And actually see success out of every single interaction. That's step one. And then if you could take that to, how does my week look? How does my month look? How does my year look? That's when you really start to, oh yeah, I remember when I thought about this morning. And then after that, I just do a gratitude list that I write down. And a friend of mine, I'm going to give him a shout out. He sent me this text yesterday, and I'm just going to share it because it just came, out of nowhere, and it was awesome to read. It said, "It is not happy people who are grateful. It is grateful people who are happy."
Who
Simple.
sent the text?
His name is Darren Weinstock. Awesome guy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's not happy people who are grateful. It's grateful people who are happy.
Right.
Where did he get that from? Are we going to quote you? Who are we going to quote on that? I'm looking for a testimonial to post on social media like today. That's going to be it.
I'll try and find it, although I don't.
We'll just give you credit, Ari.
It says Valpha, VALPHA. I don't want to take another man's words, but I'd love to call them.
We'll give you both some credit. Yeah. That's awesome. So last question, if there is one thing, if we're only going to remember one thing from this interview, what should it be?
One thing from this interview?
Mm-hmm. Or at all.
The fact that you've got great furniture, that you...
Stephen Chang said the same thing.
Oh, did he? Yeah,
yeah.
Stephen's a good guy. I think that the key is that you are a pretty selfless person for being as successful as you are, and wanting to spend time to take successful tips and pieces that work for other people and share it. It's the most selfless thing that I think people can do. I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not going to share those secrets with the audience. I'm going to, divert them and head them in a different direction. But you're just constantly trying to pick the brain of people who have achieved some success, in some cases, some great success, and you just want to help share that information. I think that will come back to you, and it continues to come back to you in a major way. And you're awesome for doing this. That's
not really answering the question. That was just complimenting.
It is though. You said, that's what I got from this. I got from that, and that I enjoyed having a great conversation with someone who I know and respect. And I'll do this all day long, and I'll cold call with you, and this is easy.
I'm not cold calling. Forget that. I'm a terrible cold caller.
You door knock, I'll cold call.
Oh, and not a cold call before. Neither one. No way. Here's my strength in this business. I found my way into this business and I figured out how to do that. Actually, I did make a couple cold calls, and one of my best clients came out of a cold call. I'm going to eat my words now, but I figured out really quickly how to not have to do that anymore. Let's just say that, because it's not fun.
You do what works for you. You do you.
Oh, I love it. So guys, I'm here to put out and give to everybody and share, and you're just making me feel good. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Well, thank you for being on the show, Ari. It was awesome having you.
Thank you for making this happen, and looking forward to connecting soon.